you report well on something that you have more understanding on. Politician will gladly give me that information without even thinking twice. There's need to constantly engage the media, and that is the role that can help bridge this gap. What needs to change is working in silos.
Welcome back to Sehab Podcast, Voices of Change. This is the podcast where we explore bold conversations, bold ideas, and bold solutions that are shaping sustainable futures both in Africa and the rest of the world. Today, we are recording live from Gaborone, that is Botswana, the capital of Botswana, where civil society leaders, nutrition advocates, and policy influencers have gathered for the Scaling Up Nutrition Movement, ESA Civil Society Network Regional Meeting here in Gaborone, under the theme, Strengthening Accountability Food Systems for Nutrition Security and Health. Today we explore a very sensitive issue, and it is in line with what we are here discussing and also deliberating in Gaborone. And this question has always been overlooked by the media houses and many other players in this space. And it's all about the nutrition advocacy. And the question that we are trying to understand today and also address is revolving around, why might communication be the missing link in nutrition advocacy? Across the world, evidence of malnutrition is growing, as we've seen and also experienced. Policies are being developed, commitments are being made. Yet in all this, progress is always slow. So the question becomes very critical. Is the challenge always about lack of solutions, or sometimes about how those solutions are communicated? To unpack this, we are joined by a journalist all the way from Zambia, Miss Dorica, whose work as a journalist focuses on public interest in reporting, development of communication, and also amplifying stories that shape public policy. And without much ado, let me welcome my guest. Welcome, Dorica.
Hi, George. How are you?
I'm very fine.
Hi, hello to our viewers out there and all those following this podcast. My name is Dorica Sakala from Zambia, and I am a journalist by profession. But currently, I'm working with the Civil Society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance in Zambia. And like the name itself, of course, it's scaling up nutrition. So we are nutrition advocates. And my interest in nutrition issues, as a journalist, my focus in my reporting area was mainly on nutrition, education, agriculture, and social protection. And so based on that background rather, I sort of already had somewhere where I could start from, even when I joined the civil society, because I already had something that I have been advocating for in the health sector, in the agriculture sector, and in the education sector. Yeah. So basically that is all about me.
Thank you so much, Dorica Sakala, for that powerful introduction. And to start us off, we shall ask a very simple but a very powerful question as well. So, from a journalist perspective, because I know you're a journalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why is communication so important when it comes to issues like nutrition?
Okay. I would love to respond to your question with a question, but no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So imagine a world where there's no communication, there's silence. How would it be? And when you look at communication, communication is a powerful tool that, if well used, can either build or destroy. And in this case, in the nutrition aspect, communication is key to addressing many issues surrounding nutrition, malnutrition, diseases that come with poor diets and other things. You know, we have different forms of malnutrition, talk of stunting, talk of diabetes, obesity, all these forms of malnutrition, underweight, overweight, these are forms of malnutrition. And of course, through communication, we can see to it that the message is reached to the right people at the right time, because other people think eating healthy is eating good food. Like when I say good food, I mean these processed, highly processed foods. But with proper communication and well used, we'll be able to educate people that healthy food are not these highly processed foods or the things that we find easy on the market to purchase. But healthy eating starts from somewhere, and that somewhere is where we'll tell them when we begin to utilize communication.
Yeah, awesome. So essentially, communication to you, it bridges the gap between evidence and public understanding.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Now, let's move to another segment on this one, and we shall be revolving around why nutrition stories often go unheard. Because you are journalists, you understand this space very well, and we tell a lot of stories. But now, the nutrition part of it, sometimes or always, they go unheard. So, nutrition is one of the most critical development issues as we know it, yet it is often receives less media attention. Yeah. And this is in comparison to other topics, because we know in the field, you always look for those trendy topics.
Exactly.
And nutrition, as we know it, it's something essential, but it's not always trendy because people have gotten used to it because we eat every day. And we claim that we are doing good diet every day. So you find that it goes unheard. The most essential part of it goes unheard. So why do you think this happens?
Thank you so much, George. One thing I would say, nutrition is a very sensitive topic, something that needs to be on the news headlines every day, because it's a very, very big topic. But linking it to what you have said, it goes unheard because many a times journalists are not involved in the in these nutrition advocacy, capacity building training or workshops. That's number one. They don't have information. How do you wake up today, George, and go and report on something that you have no idea about? Also, issues of financing. Media have to be sensitized on matters to do with nutrition. That is the only way we can get them to begin reporting about nutrition stories. Here is a journalist who doesn't understand anything about nutrition, what it is, because when you say nutrition, it doesn't mean you have you have food on the table. No, it means you need to have at least. In our country, we have the 6 best dietary guidelines, those that guide how a plate should look like. You have the vegetables, you have the fruits, you have the protein, you have the dairy, you have all those things. There are 6 in total. And that is how a healthy plate must look like. And so if we're talking about nutrition, a journalist who doesn't even know what a nutritious plate is supposed to look like, how is he or she going to report about nutrition? So we need to bring these journalists on board. We need to sensitize them. We need to raise awareness. We need to capacitate them with knowledge and information about this. And also, most importantly, we need to engage government to take these nutrition issues seriously. Because look at political news. If there is a political rally anywhere, you will see journalists moving or stories flooding the news. If there is anything that is happening in the political space, it gains attention. But we have something that is happening in the nutrition space and it gets little attention. Why is that so? Because there is a gap. The media is not involved. The media is only involved at the official opening or the official launch of a policy guideline that has been developed, of course. And definitely, if you invite us as a media to come for the official opening, for example, like we were here, we started on Monday. We started our event here on Monday. And we had government officials that came through on Monday to just welcome us and talk to us. And media was there for the official opening. The rest of the days, they're not there. So how are they going to report?
So in short, you are saying that as much as the media and the journalists, they report news, in a way, they are not like, most of them are not informed about the nutrition aspect. Or in general, they are more informed on the ways of reporting, but not the nutrition part of it in particular.
In particular, I would say you report well on something that you have more understanding on. I'll continue giving an example of the political space. Politicians, whenever they are having community engagements with the people, they don't go alone. They make sure that 1 or 2 journalists or 1 or 2 media houses are there to capture the event. Whenever they are doing their campaigns, they are there. They'll make sure that media is also there. So politicians engage the media from the word start. Before they can start whatever they are doing, they will ensure that they involve the media. But here is us in the nutrition sphere. We want the message to be spread across, but we don't want to invest in the journalist. By investing, I'm not saying giving them money, no. But you have to bring them along to where you are so that they can gather that information and take it where it's needed to be heard. So if you keep them away and you only call them for the official opening, I would love to give you a sample of how I would report the event that we had here in Gaborone. So I would say, as speaking from a non-informed journalism perspective, I've just come to do the official opening. You know, these people read speeches and we get the speech. So assuming I have gotten the speech, I'll look at the theme of the event. I'll look at what government has promised to do. And I'll look at maybe what one or two organizations or maybe senior people in this organization have spoken, and that becomes a story. And it's about 5 paragraphs or so. So you can see already to say highlight. First paragraph is introduction of what this event is all about. Second paragraph will be what government has committed to or what the CSA has committed to. Third paragraph would be the way forward. Fourth or fifth paragraph would be what other CSAs are doing. It doesn't bring out the real issues because that journalist doesn't understand. But if you get a journalist, you train them, you give them the information that they need, you give them the documents. Even in their reporting, they will be able to refer to some documents or to some information, data, to say, this is where we are currently with regards to malnutrition. And this is where we are going. Years back, this is where we were. And that would make valid, informed news. Balanced.
And now my question is, who is this person responsible for training the journalists to be aligned with the right reporting around nutrition? Because we have various stakeholders, and you see, let's say for example, the journalists, let's say the journalists are the media, say the media house. They're responsible for like equipping their media team to report on certain issues, and they are not really obligated to like train them on specific matters such as nutrition. So according to you, who should be responsible to do this capacity building to the media team or to the media as a whole to help them like understand how to do things to do with the reporting around nutrition?
Okay. Who is responsible?
Yes.
It's us, the CSAs. You, the CSAs. You are the ones who are involved in nutrition issues. So whenever you have a workshop to do with nutrition, call the media.
Okay.
Call the media, educate them. This is what we do. This is what we are foreseen in the future, and this is where we are. By so doing, the media will know, they'll have good information about that. And they'll be able to come up with ideas, news story ideas that they'll be able to present to their media houses to say, I want to pursue this. For example, government has promised in our country, I don't know about your country, in our country we've committed to reduce stunting by to 15% by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am well informed, I'll start doing my research. Where were we before this commitment was made? This commitment was made last year.
Mm-hmm.
So where were we before this commitment was made? We're at 35%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have my baseline of data.
Uh-huh.
Now we are at 32.
Mm-hmm.
And the pledge was made last year. Now we are in the second year. How far have we gone? Have we reduced or are we still at 32? And that's a news idea, right?
Yes.
And if a journalist is well informed, he or she will even know the right people to talk to. If you as a CSA, you are vocal on these issues,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be able to come to you and you should be there ready to give us the information. The other thing that kills us, why you see maybe most of us reporting on politics all the way, is because each time.
All right, so with all that, let's try to explore the role of media in the advocacy space, especially in line with nutrition. So, what role can a journalist and media platforms play in strengthening nutrition advocacy?
Okay, so like I had mentioned earlier on, the media have a huge role to play in this advocacy to ensure that the message is sent out there to the right people and that it reaches the right people. And so the role of the media is to ensure that they disseminate the information. And how do they disseminate the information? Is by them getting involved. So if you engage them, the media will also get involved. If you don't engage them, then we lay back, because how we won't force ourselves to be where we are not wanted. So our role is there to capture the information and send it to all parts of the community, the country, regardless.
And that's a great one. But you see, the media team from time immemorial, they have been the people who do the engagement, especially as in where they are going to get the news. See? And now my question is to you, of course, as a media person. How easy is it to engage the media in that line? In this case, you are engaging them to empower them, not you giving them information to report on. So how easy is that?
It's very easy for CSAs and other organizations, government, to engage the media, because media is willing to get the information, because that is the baseline of where they get their news ideas. There's a lot to reporting than what people think, because you have to generate an idea. So media people tend to read. I don't know in your country, but in our country, the media codes to be the fourth estate.
Yeah, of course, in Kenya, we also have media at the fourth estate.
Yes. Yeah. You know why they are called the fourth estate?
We have the first as the three arms of the government.
Yes.
Then they come as the fourth, right?
Yes,
because the reporting.
Yes. So now here is where it comes in. Media does not focus only on one thing. If you are a health specialist, you are just there as a health specialist.
In the media space or?
No, in other professions. But if you are a media personnel, if you are a news reporter, a journalist, a trained journalist, you have to have knowledge about health, knowledge about education. You need to have knowledge about all sectors in the country. Now tell me, it's just one head and you have different ministries and you have to report on all those ministries. How do you do that? And so the media is always willing, and they are always happy, especially when they are called to come on board. The hardest thing that we find, the major challenge that we find as media, is getting you guys, you the CSAs, you people on board to give us the news that we need. If I get my phone and call you, George, to say, okay, my name is Dorica, I'm calling you from this media house and I would like to get a comment from you with regards to stunting or overweight. According to reports, this is the information. And I would like to find out from your perspective or from you as an organization, where are we? What are you doing? Most responses that would come from organizations and people, including government officials, is that, can you send a press query? A press query that if you send, it will take 1 week for you to get the feedback back. And you need that information right there. There are times when you need the information just there. Instantly. But there's no one to give you a comment. And it becomes a challenge for us as media personnel. And this is why we run to politicians. If I call a politician and say, there's this happening in your area, what do you have to say? A politician will gladly give me that information without even thinking twice. So media is there. Media is available to work or to be engaged. But it's the CSAs, the government, institutions, and other sectors that are not ready to engage the media.
All right. Now, let's say from your perspective as a media person and also someone who is well versed with nutrition matters. Now, you've also pointed out that it's so hard, as in it can be challenging for now, let's say, other people like to engage media in that because of, let's say, approach issues. Is there a role that the media can also play? For example, you as one person who has a good background in nutrition and challenges with stunting and related issues. Is there a way that you can do an initiative to help in like lobbying the media to like also have a role to play in this mobilization and also lobbying for other media spaces to be trained and capacity built in line with reporting on nutrition matters?
I don't know in your country, but we have associations that look at media rights, of course, and ethics. And if you ask me, I would say we are already doing something as media. We are the fact that we are able to get our phones, our cameras, our recorders to record you, seek news from you, to seek information from you about issues to do with nutrition. It speaks volume already to say, yes, the interest is there. But what's not there is the capacity. They need to be brought together. You can have a network of media personnel, invite them to this workshop, and then create a network where you'll be informing them, engaging them from time to time. Even when there's nothing, even when there's no workshop, you can just engage them in a group. Talk to them. If you have a press release, send it in that group. It would help. So we are already doing something by trying to engage the relevant people. But the relevant people are the ones who are pulling back. Yeah.
Now, in that case, it becomes apparent that the media plays double role. That is, they are like a storytelling platform, and also they are also like accountability tool in this case.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah. Now let's move to the next segment of this podcast. We shall be looking at the communication strategies that work both in the media space and also in other government space to like have a point of synergy for the media to play a role in the reporting of nutrition matters, accurate reporting, of course. Now, during many advocacy discussions, as we've had as the CSAs, and also you as part of CSA, we hear about the importance of strategic communication. And from our previous learning here in Gaborone, we came up with some strategy, right? From your experience, what makes communication effective in advocacy?
Thank you so much.
Especially in line with the right reporting in the nutrition space.
Thank you so much, George. What makes communication effective, like I had said earlier on, is effective engagement. Effective engagement or consistent engagement with the media is what makes it effective. If you constantly engage the media, they'll constantly report on that, and they'll be able to hold you or government accountable because they'll keep track of what you are doing. So engagement, capacity building is the other thing. Bring them on board. Give them the information. Tell them to say, this is what is happening in the nutrition space. There are a lot of stories that one can write with regards to nutrition, but few are written, few are spelled out there because people don't really understand. Even when we say stunting, I might be stunted. You might be underweight or overweight where you are here, and you may not know it.
Sure.
So how do you go about reporting on something that even you yourself don't understand? How do I report on obesity when I don't even understand? Maybe I myself am even obese. So there's need to capacity build the media with information. There's need to constantly engage the media, and that is the role that can help bridge this gap and help spread the nutrition information advocacy further.
Maybe just to give a skeleton way, more of a structured way of doing this strategic communication. How can it on a step-by-step basis? How can it be it's something that it's as in, can you give a structured way of how this strategic communication should be? Whether it's rudimentary?
A strategic plan that would work, of course, it's one that requires the tools. I'll still come back to issues of data. If the data is released, it will be easy. That is one strategy. So if you are the CSA, you are willing to release the information to the media freely, then that would work. Press release. You can be developing press release or newsletters as an organization and share them with the media, especially the press release. Share them with the media, and then they'll drive something, they'll develop a story out of it, and they'll air it. The information will go. Also utilize other forms of media, maybe social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all these forms of, just keep on engaging with the media by posting different things there that would attract their attention. Many people are glued to social media right now.
Sure.
And few people would sit there and maybe open a magazine and begin to read. Yeah, but put it on social media, it will reach vast people. Everyone will have a look. But the issue also comes in on how you would craft your information. So you need the media on board, but you need to constantly engage them. Yeah.
Nice. So what I can understand from your explanation is that in this case, in the strategic sense of it, the communication part of it is not just as a matter of informing people. It's on addressing the key issues and also influencing the perception.
Exactly.
Nice. Now, okay, we can look into the future of nutrition communication. We've been having this conversation, though it is not yet ripe, because we've seen that it has been overlooked to some extent. So, looking ahead, what do you think needs to change for nutritional advocacy to communicate more effectively?
What needs to change is working in silos.
Okay,
CSOs should stop meeting themselves. What I mean, you are CSA, I'm CSA, away from the media. We are just meeting as CSAs. Who is going to spread that information? Who is going to take that information out? You? No. I won't take it out. I don't have a media house that I'm going to air this information to. So stop working in silos and begin to engage the media. Bring the media on board in every meeting that you have. That should change. At least in every meeting that you have 1 or 2 or 3 media houses representing or represented in that meeting. And by so doing, you have your information going across. Basically, that is what really needs to change. And also issues of funding, especially for workshops or meetings that will bring all media personnel together and just give them information. Many a times CSOs would not invite the media, thinking maybe if we bring the media, they will need to be given transport refund,
Exactly.
or they'll need to be given that. But it's not all the time. And trust me, we've covered many government events where we just go and come back the way you've went.
Actually, that was my next question, because you see, the media house is their business entity, right?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, your salaries have to be paid. And I understand that if you have the most catchy story, that's where now there's a lot of traction to your media, right? And then that's where now you get some income, right? And you find that in our meetings at the CSAs, somehow that budget is not there. And my question, the question that you've just answered was that how will you now handle the money aspect of it? Because at the end of the day, the media has to make some money for the staff and for everything to run smoothly. But you can expound more on that. That was the question I was having next.
So, George, you as a CSA,
yes,
in Kenya, you can support a media house or media houses by sometimes just having a paid for program at their institution. That's the only way you can support them. If you have an event and you want coverage, unless you want special coverage like we have had here, where we just need specific media to capture the moment of the event, that is different, yes. But in an event where news is concerned, news is not paid for. As far as I know, in my country at least, I know that news is free. Even when I call you, I don't expect you to send me money after the conversation ends. But what many of the CSAs think is, what are we going to pay the media? It's not always like that. Invite the media. If you have something for them, you tell them to say, no, transport refund will be provided. If you don't have, tell them to say, want you to cover this event, but there's nothing that will be provided. See how many people would come. They are just journalists with passion. It's not always about money, no.
Okay.
So that is a step that even CSAs needs to take. Sometimes just take a positive step and just have a paid for program, 1 hour program, like our CSA in Zambia. We do have radio programs. We've decided to give at least some business to the media, because we know that the only way that media houses, especially private media houses, make money is by having paid for programs aired, adverts. From the news, we don't get any funding unless you as a CSA, you want to sponsor that news. Even if your story is not there, you just want to sponsor that news, that is welcome. But when we call you for an interview to say we want a news item from you, we don't expect you to pay us.
Okay.
No.
Actually, that was my next question, because I understand from my little knowledge about media, you give priority to those news that are like attractive to like the political one. So in this case, I understand that people will go for the prime news first, and then others, in terms of allocation of news, they arrange them in order of let's say the priority in terms of how the public perception will they will have on people. So in that case, the arrangement part of it, you've understand part, you've given some explanation part of it, and maybe you could speak more about this in terms of arranging that news in terms of priority and including nutrition as part of the priority. How maybe you could say something about it?
Yeah, so it all goes back again to issues of capacity building. If you as a CSA, you understand the major challenges that are faced in the nutrition sphere, you have to educate me as a journalist to say these are the pressing issues, and only then will those issues become more attractive. Trust me, in my line of reporting, many a times if I do a nutrition story, it would be a lead story. I would make sure that it becomes a lead story.
How do you do this?
Because I read, I have understanding about what nutrition is. So I understand to say, even if we look healthy, we are not as healthy. So what also attracts is how well how vested you're informed about this. And it only that can only happen if you, CSS, take interest to bring the media on board and educate them and tell them to say, these are the documents. Because in our country, stunting is at 32. So if you see a headline to say, Zambia has reduced stunting and it is now at 15%, everyone would want to understand how. So we need to inform these media. We need to give them the information. We need to give them the data. And like I had said earlier on, the challenges, when I call you as a journalist, I call you seeking for that data. You refer me, no, let me talk to this one, talk to this one, talk to this. There's that protocol. And sometimes we don't have time for all that protocol.
Sure.
We don't. If you call the minister, he has picked up already what is difficult for him to just spare a minute or two, because if we're talking of radio, we just need about 30-40 minutes of your time. I mean 40 seconds of your time. If you sell everything that you can say in 40 seconds, that's news enough. I would be able to write even a whole page.
Wow. So generally you're saying that it should be like initiative should be taken, like to involve the media deliberately.
Yes.
Because they know how to do the reporting now.
Exactly.
The information is to be fed to them. Nice. So that one is, I guess it marks the end of our podcast. Before you wrap it up, you have parting shot for the viewers.
Thank you so much. And it's so unfortunate that it's coming to an end. Time almost felt like it's 5 minutes, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, but my message to my fellow journalists out there is that let's have interest in nutrition. It is very broad. Even if we are not fully engaged, let's have the interest. Let's start from somewhere. And let's just ensure that we sensitize the people, we educate the people about what nutrition is, what is involved, what is there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And to our viewers, thank you so much for being with us this long. And we really appreciate your patience. And one thing that I can say from this is that change begins when the right stories are told. Now, to wrap it up, from our conversation with Dorica, a renowned journalist from Zambia, we've seen that nutrition is more than health issue. It cuts across development. It has also cut across economic issues and also human rights issues. And as we have explored today, the most urgent issues are the way nutrition requires powerful communication. And this, as a result, will inspire action. From what Dorica has shared with us is that perhaps the missing link in nutrition advocacy is not only better policies or better data, but it is about better storytelling. Thank you so much to our guests for sharing this from a perspective of a journalist. And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us in this podcast. That is Sehab, Voices of Change, that has been recorded here in Gaborone, the capital city of Botswana, during the regional gathering in the scaling up of nutrition movement. Change begins when the right stories are told and heard. And as they say in Tswana, Kaele Boga. I don't know if I've said it right, but it just means thank you. Until next time.